Hello YouTube, welcome to my first build update on the Monk Invoker. So, I'm currently level 85, I leveled up a bit, and I'm gonna start right off with the items. So, first I'm gonna show you what I used to level up with. So this was my main weapon, basically to level 78, that's where you unlock the best bases. And yeah, this was enough to immediately, as I equip this weapon, to get me to like tier 10 maps or tier 11 maps on level 65. And I was quite surprised how easy it is actually to scale damage on a monk in comparison to the warrior. So yeah, this was my weapon to level 78. And yeah, then I bought this one because I started pushing to a bit higher maps, and I started having a problem with freezing the mobs. So I bought this weapon with as much flat cold damage as I can get, and crit chance and crit damage bonus. So this is my weapon, at least for now. And the additional damage is these two rings. So it's basically as much flat damage as you can get, and then some resistances or attributes. And the other one is basically the same ring. This one was quite a steal because I think I bought this one for 20 exalted orbs, and for me this is the perfect ring. So yeah, I've got these two rings. Then the amulet is a bit of whatever piece. I just bought basically anything that had some life and crit chance, and this one came up, so I bought it. Yeah, body armor, basically as much energy shield and evasion as you can get, and this one was with the bonus of having chaos resistance, so I bought this one for I think 60 exalted orbs, and it is quite decent life. Yeah, the belt, life resists, that's all there is to it. And actually the increased stun threshold implicit helps quite a bit. Boots. The main thing is movement speed, and yeah, probably evasion and energy shield. No, actually the second most important is to get at least one roll of stun threshold somewhere, because without this I was getting stunned quite a bit. But with this one stun threshold roll, it really solved my stun issue. And yeah, then evasion and energy shield and as much resist as you can get. Gloves, basically the same thing. The main for me was to have as much energy shield and evasion again, and movement speed, attack speed. And then whatever you can get, resist, life, everything's good. And the helmet, as much energy shield as you can get, and then whatever you need. Resists, attributes, basically whatever you need. The ideal thing to have would be a crit chance, again. So that was a gear, yeah, flasks. Just whatever flask I found during leveling, I think. Yeah, I'm using this rarity charm because I don't have to use anti-freeze charm, and I'm gonna explain why in a moment. And yeah, just again, whatever flask I have found. Ideal would be probably the flask affix that gains charges over time. And now with the more interesting stuff, the skill tree. Yeah, basically the whole starting area of the monk, because I wanted to get as much energy shield and evasion as I can get, and I'm currently sitting on 2300 energy shield and 78% chance to evade. And this is gonna go down a bit because I'm eventually gonna be taking this, because when you get hit by physical damage you really feel it, and this is gonna solve that problem quite nicely, I would say. And if this turns out being bad, I'm gonna just take I'm the Blizzard or I'm the Thunder for extra damage. yeah, when I'm in the Ascendancy, I'm gonna just show you what I took. So lead me through grace, just for the spirit, and this gives you quite a lot of spirit. I actually love this node probably the most. Or this is probably my second favorite ascendancy point on the Invoker, and this thing I really love. This what lets me basically use 6 Majoras, and I'm having basically 107 spirit from my gear without any spirit rolls. So I would say this is quite decent. Then I'm using Sunder My Enemies, because I want this build to basically ignore enemy elemental resistances, so I don't have to use any curses and exposures, and that's why I'm building a lot into crit and scatter them into the winds, because this really reminds me the times of Diablo 2, playing like a Zealot Paladin with the Hellfire Torch and making those Firestorm all of the time, even though they were useless. Yeah, just for the looks of the build. But this actually I don't think is just for the looks of the build, because when you think about it, if I'm gonna show you, the damage looks low, and yes, I agree, it is quite low, but when you actually consider the thing that this has cast time of 0.25 seconds, this means you can proc it 4 times per second, and you're gonna proc, this procking works based on your highest attributes. So I'm gonna proc mostly Icy Wave and Arcing Bolt. And when you take into consideration that you can proc this 4 times per second, and I have a lot of conditional buffs on my skill tree, for example, damage to enemies affected by elemental ailments, this I think can pack a punch too, especially on bosses. You're not gonna see much damage of this skill on clearing, but I think on bosses it's gonna actually make some difference. I think I need to really test this on some bigger boss, and yeah, we're gonna see. So this is my ascendancy choices, and yeah, as I've said, next gonna be probably and protect me from harm. Yeah, and I took basically the whole starting area of the Monk because it's so freaking strong, at least in my opinion. When you compare it to Warrior side, this I think is really, really strong, because you're getting extra damage as both lightning and cold, crit chance, damage if you've crit, attack speed, evasion and energy shield. You're getting movement speed. Yeah, this was my favorite node. That's why I tried to stack a bit of movement speed. But yeah, really the starting area of Monk is quite insane, I would say. Yeah, then I went to some bit more energy shield, and the movement speed is basically permanent too. Yeah, crit chance and crit damage, again, crit chance. And this wheel, that's what I meant about conditional. So increased elemental damage if you've chilled recently. This is basically all of the time. This is basically all of the time. And this, when you get enough fire damage, and yeah, this would be basically all of the time active too. So this is 90 elemental damage. Yeah, then a bit more crit chance and crit damage. This cluster I love too. So as you can see, crit chance, crit damage. And now I'm going to this, because one thing I forgot to mention, the elemental expression has actually a mana cost. And yeah, at the moment it's 51 per one cast, per one trigger. And if you link gems that increase the cost, the cost's gonna go higher. If you're gonna increase the levels, it's also gonna go higher. So be cautious about taking the elemental expression, because it's gonna chunk down your mana quite a bit, especially if you get a quite decent crit chance. So that's why I'm gonna use this for the attack speed and reduced mana cost, and this for the maximum energy shield and evasion again. Then I went for this. And this note I really love because it's it's basically ascendancy point from PoE1 on Trickster put into the skill tree. And yeah, this means that's the reason why you want to get as much energy shield as you can on your helmet, because I've got 343, so that means it's giving me 686 evasion just because of these 3 points, and these small ones give increased maximum energy shield and evasion, so it's quite decent too. Yeah, then this wheel, again, for each type of elemental ailment on an enemy, so this should be, even on bosses, this should be 45 increased damage. And these ones are real good too, because it gives elemental damage and freeze build-up, and freeze build-up is what you need especially for your clear. And there I went into the staff nodes, so I took these, and this one I really love too, because it, again, it gives freeze build-up and increased defenses. And this increased defenses increases your energy shield and evasion at the same time. So this is quite strong. And when I take the last ascendancy points that converts a bit of evasion to armor, it's gonna scale the armor too. Yeah, then this, because I started having some accuracy problems, and this fixed completely my accuracy problems. I basically don't have to run any accuracy affix on the gear, because I have decent amounts of dexterity, and as you can see, I'm having a 100% hit chance. And yeah, I'm eventually gonna take these points, because I'm gonna eventually add in, I don't know how yet, but I'm gonna eventually add the Tempest staff or whatever it's called that consumes your power charges. So yeah, this is gonna be taken a bit later. Then I'm going triple Herald, so these points are insanely strong. Basically, increased 50% increased damage. So for 3 points, I don't mind, and these two give you 24. Yeah, a lot more crit chance. This note is especially important because it gives you flat crit chance, basically, or the base crit chance that every increased crit chance scales off. So this one is really important, and yeah, I'm taking these. And I went, just in case you're wondering why I did not take this for attack damage, because I wanted to scale the elemental expression at the same time, but yeah, whatever, it's 5%, so I don't mind. And yeah, this section of the tree I'm not happy about, because this is mainly for when I was leveling, but I've got stuck with it. I really don't want to get rid of the skill speed and movement speed, so I'm probably gonna respec the skill tree in some way and anoint this thing. But at the same time, I wanted to get here because there's 2% more movement speed and attack damage and magnitude of shock you inflict. So I don't know yet. I may end up respecing this. I also may end up going through the shock magnitude. And the most interesting thing about the skill tree is this right here. I'm using the jewel, wherever it is. I think it's, yeah, from nothing, and that basically is impossible escape from Path of Exile 1. And yeah, I'm using it with the elemental equilibrium. Bought this for 1 divine. I don't know what's the price now, but I bought this for 1 divine. And that's why I don't need to use anti-freeze charm, because I'm getting 40% increased elemental ailment threshold here and here. And this works perfectly fine with your chill and shock and ignite too. So it's basically much harder to chill you for decent amount and shock you and ignite you. These 2 points are really nice. And yeah, this increased elemental damage and duration of ailments, nice. And yeah, this increased duration of ailments again, and the damage against enemies affected by elemental ailments. So Yeah, I'm getting quite a lot of increased damage from the skill tree, and at the same time I'm trying to get as much crit chance and evasion and energy shield at the same time. So I'm gonna level a bit and take these points, and then yeah, after I level a bit, I think to over 90, I'm gonna do next build update. And yeah, now the last thing, the skill gems. I'm having elemental expression linked with considered casting, because the less cast speed doesn't matter. It's a trigger skill, so it's basically 40% more damage with no downside. And I'm using fire, cold, and lightning mastery for level of the skill gem, because yeah, it needs a bit more love if it really is. If I really want this to do some decent damage, I think it needs a bit more love and a bit more skill levels, so I'm using these 3 masteries. Then Tempest Flurry, your main damage dealing ability, and it's martial tempo for the attack speed, crescendo for the final strike to cast twice, and the final strike deals a lot more damage and has insane chance to shock, and it looks like this. Yeah, so as you could see, I'm striking twice with the last hit. Yeah, close combat. This is basically active all of the time, because you're really in enemy's face with this skill. And it's, yeah, so then it's basically 25% more attack damage. But it has insane amount of cost multiplier, and I really don't know why. I think this should be turned down to no multiplier, or to like 120, 110, just because I don't think it's that strongest of a support. It's just 25% more attack damage, so yeah, I really don't know about this cost multiplier. And then Conk Effect, just because again you don't need area on this skill, you're in enemy's face, so this is basically 40% more damage, again with no downside. Then I'm using Tempest Bell, linked with Font of Rage, and Primal Armament, just for the damage, Primal Armament, and I'm using Rage for, yeah, basically for more Rage build up when I actually get to fight some tougher mob. Hand of Chayula, linked with Sniper's Mark, Temp Chains, Heightened Curse to counteract the effect of the Hand of Chayula bit, and Profusion. And yeah, currently the Sniper's Mark and Profusion and the whole generating frenzy charges does nothing for me. But eventually, when I, as I said, put in the Tempest Staff, this is gonna be my source of power charge generation in combination with this note on the skill tree, Resonance. So I get power charges instead of frenzy charges, and with this, when you critically strike the marked enemy, it's gonna consume the strike and give you a frenzy charge, so that means I would get a power charge for my Tempest Staff. Yeah, I'm using Herald of Ash, no links, and low level, because my strength is, I think, exactly 34, yeah? So level 5 Herald of Ash. And the Herald of Thunder combo for the clear, and Herald of Ice. So I'm using Herald of Thunder, and you're using Herald of Thunder for not doing lightning damage, but you want to do as much cold damage as you can with Herald of Thunder. And I'm having it linked with Glaciation for more freeze buildup, and Ice Bite, and Ambush. And you really want to have as much cold damage on your Herald of Thunder as you can, because you want to reliably freeze with Herald of Thunder, and then basically when you freeze with Herald of Thunder, the Herald of Ice chains from the Herald of Thunder and explodes the frozen enemies from your Herald of Thunder, and you want this to be the other way around. You want your Herald of Ice to have as much lightning damage and chance to shock as you can have. Because, yeah, these work together really nice, because one's gonna shock and one's gonna freeze, and they chain off of each other. So, yeah, if you shock with Herald of Ice, it's gonna proc Herald of Thunder, And if you freeze with Herald of Thunder, it's gonna proc Herald of Ice. So this is the insane clearing explosion you see on the Monk's build. And yeah, that's the thing I'm using too. And it's linked with increased area of effect, or the magnified effect. Innervate, just again for a bit more cold damage. And this lightning damage actually works for Oriole skills. So this and this is yeah, basically just for mapping, but it increases all your damage during mapping. And conduction for motions to shock. Then Grim Feast, again just for mapping, but this is insanely strong, basically doubles your energy shield, and in combination with evasion it's even stronger because you're getting hit much less with evasion, so you really can stack this thing up. Then Life on Kill, or the cannibalism support, and Clarity. Ghost Dance, for, yeah, just again a combination of energy shield and evasion. When you get hit, you recover 5% of your evasion as energy shield, linked with fast forward, so the cooldown of getting ghost shrouds is lower. As you can see, 3.5, and now it's 2.5. And yeah, then Wind Dancer. And Wind Dancer is really strong too, because it gets these stages, and it gets these stages quite fast, and every stage gives you 19% more evasion. So if I put this off, then I'm having 65% evasion. If I put this on and actually wait for those 4 stacks to stack up, I'm having 78. So yeah, this is quite powerful. And yeah, just in case you're wondering, I'm having the 4th stage from the quality, and yeah, since Gem Cutter's prisms are a bit a tiny bit cheaper than in the start, I would really recommend to just quality up everything. So yeah, but this is one of the more important ones. And it's linked with Unbreakable, so this basically procs when I get hit, and it procs this Gale Force. And it's basically a melee hit around you, so this can quite reliably proc the the explosion combo of your Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ice. So yeah, sometimes when you play bad and just use Hand of Chayula to charge into big pack and then you get hit, you immediately explode the whole pack because of the Gale Force effect. And I'm using Unbreakable. And that basically, when I get hit, then it's gonna proc the Gale Force, and I'm less likely to get stunned when I'm casting the Gale Force skill. So this is pretty nice combo too. And yeah, then Energy Barrier. So if I get stunned, I'm immediately starting to recover energy shield for 2 seconds. But this is really not that often. But why not use it if it works? And then Maim, just for, yeah, the combo of knocking back enemies with Gale Force and then slowing them down with Maim. Yeah, that's the skills, that's the skill tree, and I think I'm gonna leave you with the gameplay showcase. So thank you very much for watching, and please enjoy the gameplay showcase. Bye bye, Exiles.
Pitiless wretch! The mighty fall! The dreamer provides. Fate is on my side. Relentless assault!